Spoiler warning. This podcast contains spoilers for Lights Out and Caught Up, the first two books of the Into Darkness series by Navessa Allen. There is mention of Game On, the third book in the series, but no explicit spoilers. This episode focuses on our thoughts and analysis of Lights Out by Navessa Allen. A subsequent episode will focus on Caught Up, the second book in the series. This series is a mutual obsession for us here at Passion Yappers, so while we were planning to cover both books in one episode, we just had too much to say, so we made it into a two-parter. This episode contains nuanced discussion of dark romantic themes, explicit sexual content, violence, and consent. Assume that if something happens in the book, you might hear us talk about it here, even if we forgot to mention it up front. All right, so welcome to Passion Yappers. Today, with the release of Game On imminent, we are both so excited to get back into the Into Darkness series by Navessa Allen.
We both love Lights Out and are obsessed with it, and it was really cool because we met in person and had just been internet friends for a little while. And you saw that I had a book club meeting about Lights Out and kind of snuck out of the bushes.
Yeah, I
jumped in there.
I can't stop yapping about books that I like, and for some reason, this has been a book that I have struggled with getting people I know in my regular personal life to read. I'm always just harassing people to read it, or really listen to it, right? We'll talk about that because this is just chef's kiss audio of an audiobook. This is a book that I just love. It has a lot of the elements of romance that really speak to me that I really like. So I'm always wanted to talk about it, and I saw that Chelsea's book club was covering it, and I was like, hey, does that book club meet on the internet? Can I come? And she said yes, and I've been going to the Hearthside Readers / Night Shift book club ever since. It's really great and fun. If you're not familiar, Lights Out and Caught Up are the first two books in the Into Darkness series. Book 3 is being released very shortly. I think this episode is going to drop the day before release of book 3. And so what we're going to do today is get into the first two books, why we love them, why we're so sucked in to this little Navessa Allen universe. And we'll also tease at the end, we were able to speak with Tara Langella and James Cassidy, who are the two audiobook narrators for Game On, which comes out tomorrow.
Yeah, that was a really special conversation. They are spectacular people, super funny and down to earth, and talking with them was insane. You guys are going to love it. So I've listened to Lights Out, 7 or 8 times, right? And I am continuing to get people to listen to it because listening is quite the immersive experience. It's incredible. And Jacob Morgan is, wow. He's a narrator. Holy cannoli, right?
Yeah.
So there was this one time when I was taking a road trip to Canada with my bestie, and I was telling them about this audiobook. I was like, you've got to listen to this. This is incredible. I'm pitching the whole thing. And so they were like, well, what if we listen to it now? And I said, bet, let's go. I had forgotten... because it's so funny, right? I forgot. Yeah. I was just like, it's hilarious. This is the dialogue. It's so punchy. I put my sunglasses on and kept them on for the entire trip.
No eye contact. You can't, it's just, it's quite a book to listen to in a group. You took your relationship to the next level by listening to this super spicy book together. It's funny though, right? We like romance. We read all kinds of romance, spice, no spice, whatever. And it's just so funny when things are reduced to the spice because I don't even think about it, I truly don't even think about the spicy elements of these books. I think about the story and the characters and how I felt when I was reading it, right? And then as I was re-listening casually to get in the zone for this podcast, I was like, I'm going to talk about this book on the internet? This is right. This is a lot. And I got a little can I do this? Should I do this? Kind of feeling.
I know.
And it's so silly because first of all, it's words on a page. It's not going to get you. And second of all, It's like, how long has Lights Out been on the New York Times bestseller list? Like every time there's a new edition, it's like boom, right to the top. It's not like we're the only ones. That's why we're talking about it to each other and to, all the strangers on the internet that are hopefully going to listen to this podcast, right? And I'll say
Yeah.
that Chelsea and I are both primarily audiobook listeners. And I think that, yeah, this is one of these books that are just like, do the audiobook. Like, I'm begging you to do the audiobook. And I've actually known people who did like read it, like I call it eyeball reading, like you read with their eyes, not their ears,
Yeah.
who have been like, oh, I didn't like that character, he was neurotic, which will bring us to like
Mm-hmm.
Josh as a character. Like, I didn't like that character, he was really neurotic and like really uptight and like just so anxious. Yeah, he is deeply anxious, but it's funny. Like, he's very funny, he's joking about it, it's jokes. And as somebody who never read this with my eyes, I don't know. Like, does that come across as much? Or is that
Well,
a lot of like
yeah.
the characterization that Jacob Morgan does?
Jacob Morgan as a voice narrator, he brings so much to the character. And you're so right. Just the inner monologue that we're getting from Josh is punchy, brings a level of comedy to the situation that might not necessarily read on page the same way.
And like the words themselves are funny, but like the
Mm-hmm.
delivery makes them even funnier. And I think that's how one of the ways that people really get into this book is they like hear the sounds on social media and then are like, yeah, that's great. Let me read that.
And showed her staring at the bulge in my boxers with a hungry look on her face. Do not come in your shorts. Do not come in your shorts. Would it ruin my scary masked stalker image if I came too early? Didn't badasses hold out for a long time? Nope, I wasn't gonna make it. I would blow like a two-pump chump, and my badass reputation would be ruined entirely. No, god damn it. I did not need a brat kink on top of my newly awakened praise kink. The two were supposed to cancel each other out, not act as amplifiers.
And the female main character narrator is also amazing. She's got like the
Wow.
sass, it's quick. And that's one of the things that's really great about this book. I think this might have been one of the first books I ever listened to that was duet. I don't know about you, but yeah, it was
So
early for
it
me.
was the second. It was the second. The first I listened to was Butcher and Blackbird by Bryn Weaver.
Oh, yeah,
That
me
was my
too.
first
Yeah, I
duet.
definitely listened to Butcher and
Yeah.
Blackbird.
Oh wow. So yeah, the narration is incredible. They are wonderful voice actors, and it would be interesting to know if they were in the same room when they were recording or if they had any contact with one another beforehand, right? But it's also, when it comes to duet narration, I think something needs to be said about the producers, the editors, because they create the chemistry. They're not in the room together. If they're recording remotely and only receiving audio clips of one another, they're having to create the tension and create the intimacy for themselves. And then the editors and producers are having to go in and cut it in a way that makes the performance seem like super, super intimate. And that to me is goals. Like, I wish I knew how to edit like that.
One of the things that stands out to me is not only just like how funny the actual delivery of the internal monologue and like lines is. Something that actually stood out to me in this on this recent reread that I did is that villain character, the like actual killer. His voice is very just like, it's very creepy.
It's
And
creepy
it's
as
just
fuck. I'm
really,
glad you said that.
yes. Yes, it's so just like, I don't know, like slick and like creepy. Like, it's just, I hate him.
Greasy.
Like literally gives me chills. And that's like something that we obviously love the writing here. It's this additional layer that takes it from being like good to being upsetting, right? Like,
Yeah.
it really gets you going. And we could gush about the narration all day, but I think a huge part of that like lets the narrators be able to do such a great job is that like these characters are so great. And I've definitely said it before and I'll say it 100 more times. The thing that I like about romance is the characters. They always end happy, or the romance genre. So we kind of know where things are going to go in general, and it's like the characters that make it interesting and layered and distinguish one book from another. And I think that Josh and Allie are just at the top of my list for characters that I love to talk about.
Yes. Totally. What you're saying, it's not about the end product. It's about the friends we made along the way. It's
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. It is about how you get there and the complexity of the characters. And if they're not interesting, it doesn't really matter what happens. And
Mhm.
Allie and Josh are very interesting as individuals, and then together they're just fucking hilarious.
Yes. And stalking's bad, right? We all know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I don't really engage with like super dark romance as much. I'm open to trying anything, but this is like, this does have those like light fun elements, but I think the thing that works in a book with like these darker themes is the fact that we do have like access to everybody's internal monologue. So even if on paper on the outside of a situation something would be like, ooh, that's uncomfy. Oh, that in real life that would be really scary and upsetting. It's like we know that everybody here is safe. We as the reader are like privy to like what goes on the inside for them throughout the story.
For me, just a kind of more nuanced conversation to have, just as somebody
Mm-hmm.
who is like a super, super big dark romance person. For a lot of friends of mine who are dark romance people who have, gone through really traumatic experiences within their past, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, the perspective is always going to be, for some people, it's like really healing to be in control of the situation and to be able to explore more taboo things, that like a safe exploration of kinks, right? You might be
Yes.
interested in some light stalking, but do you want to be stalked in real life? No. Do you find it sexy? Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
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 And I think that that's why these things do lend themselves so well in like a book, right? It's even harder on like TV or movie or other kinds of media because you don't have like what's going on inside of people's minds the way you do in a book. And so like these things
Mm-hmm.
can be explored in a really safe way because we have access to all the information, which gives us like
Correct.
more control when we are like taking the story in. And I think when it comes to Josh, a conversation we had in book club that I thought was really interesting to have here again is like how the kink relates to the character. And, I think Josh's is really kind of spelled out very clearly in the book, but like in a way that just like, I don't know, it like makes my brain happy. The idea that like the thing that he is into, the thing that turns him on is that kind of the way he also overcomes his fear, his biggest fear, which
Mm-hmm.
is he's afraid of being scary. His biggest insecurity is that he's bad like his father was. He is scary and menacing and whatever. And so like the thing that he likes that turns him on is that he can be maximum scary and still be loved and accepted by his partner. He can be all the things that he's afraid of
Yeah.
and still be lovable.
So I would totally agree with you. And it's funny when you said his greatest fear was, my first thought was his greatest fear is barbecue. But
Mm-hmm.
knowing his inner monologue, knowing his struggle, he's so terrified of becoming his father, even though he's doing some dubious things.
Mm-hmm.
He's still feeling bad about it. He still has this moral compass about it, and seeing that inner turmoil and knowing what's happening on the outside, it just makes for a satisfying and hilarious story. My mind is going to when he's breaking into Ali's apartment and has his first interaction with Fred.
Yeah.
And he's like, I've never pet a cat before. What do I do? It's just so funny because it's such a human interaction, and he just makes it goofy.
And being on the inside of it too, right, is fun for us because he's like, "Oh, I'm afraid I'm going to hurt this cat. I
Mm-hmm.
avoid small animals because I'm afraid I'm going to hurt them because what if I'm a psycho?" We're inside of his like goofy little mind and we're just like, "Babe, like you're not going to hurt that cat. You're good. Like, I'm sorry that you're traumatized and you like can't even enjoy this cat without like worrying about it. Like his character is deeply anxious. He has these like
Mm-hmm.
anxieties, but we have the whole picture and like we are observing him from the outside and we're just kind of like, no, no, you're okay. He is really attracted to the things about Allie that are not the profile of like what his father's victims were. He very distinctly isn't like a person that he like would plug into the slot of victim. What he likes about her, right? He likes how strong she is. He likes
Mm-hmm.
how she can like stand up to him. She is very capable and very strong and she's like in her bigger body, and she like doesn't take any shit. In the context of their like sexual relationship, he does like push her and dominate her, and he takes on kind of like an antagonistic role, but like
Mhm.
knows that she's letting him.
Exactly.
He could stop it if she
Exactly.
wanted to. Doesn't have to hold back with her because she'll say stop. A beautiful transition to the idea of like no safe words with them, right? People all the
Mhm.
time are reading romance novels and being like, this is not a how-to manual. This isn't something that would be safe in real life. But I think the like choice of like no safe words with these two characters is it speaks to this dynamic. We don't need to take it too far. There's no need for one because it's even more so in your control. I don't want to push too far.
I totally agree with what you're saying. The lack of a safe word is a level of intimacy that they have with one another because they trust each other so much. Consent doesn't have to be a game with them. It's just about the intimacy. It's just about coming together, doing really sexy things together. If they're uncomfortable, they stop because they love each other.
There's not going to be a situation with them where she's like, no, stop, don't, but doesn't actually mean that and needs to say a different safe word to make it stop. If she wants it to stop, she just says, I want it to stop.
So I figured out a kink that I have when I
Mm.
was listening to Lights Out, and that would be a competency kink.
Mm-hmm.
Because the man is there for her.
He's highly capable. He can take care of all of his own, stuff and also hers. And he's obsessed, right? So, like, there's no reason for this female main character to make herself smaller in any way, right? She can be kind of like a wild card in the whole end adventure where they're breaking into the house and stuff.
One of my favorite things that just makes me laugh so hard is the fact that he's, surveilling her and he's just like, oh man, this is way too easy to do. It's way too easy to get into her house, to break into her house. I'm gonna make it better.
I also love the fact that when he's like researching her, she already did it to him. Just didn't pull it off because she's not a hacker. She already tried to figure out who he was and stalk his other social media, like get more details on him. And so it's like, yeah, on paper, when you're like, oh yeah, this is a book where the boyfriend stalks her, that's like, ooh. But the way it actually gets laid out, and I think that there's a lot of this in the romance genre where like it's like a trope where people are just like, I don't know about that. But when you see how it actually gets built up and played out, you like get it more. And so it's like she did try to figure out who he was. She did stalk him, and then he like gave it back to her. She puts a tracker on him. Like they're it's a game that they're playing together, and she is fully matching his energy.
Could we frame the conversation more, because dark romance is like a really taboo topic, but it's also like a
Mhm.
really enjoyed genre and it shouldn't be
Yeah.
taboo, right? And
Mhm.
so like the way you're kind of framing it is like, yeah, this seems bad, but it really isn't, you know what I mean? But it's like
Oh,
something that isn't bad at all, and so I don't want it to come across as like kink shamey in any way.
that's not my intention, and I feel like I keep sounding like that. And it was brought to my attention that I'm sounding like that. This book is a bridge for a lot of people into this genre. Like it
Mhm.
definitely is for me.
I was just thinking about, everyone was obsessed with the show You and Penn Badgley. We were like, the character is bad, but Penn Badgley is hot, right? And
Stalking is a crime alley.
yeah.
In- Insert stalking is a crime alley here.
And so I think it's just really important to tiptoe away from moralizing the situation to embracing sexuality and embracing the romance as a genre.
And I actually really appreciate you like bringing that up, right? Because this will come out more and more, I'm sure, as we talk. But like, I definitely have a very like purity culture upbringing where like when I do read things
Mhm.
like this,
Me too.
I do think of it through the idea of, ooh, is this okay? Like, ooh, like, like in
Mhm.
a very like global sense, right? And like when I'm in my
Mhm.
intellectual mind, I don't think that way. I know that people are going to people and everybody likes what they like. And I don't think that there's any like shame to be had but sometimes it still creeps into the way I talk about these things. And so it's like a cool
Yeah.
thing to be aware of.
And it does to me too, and especially
Mhm.
anything with purity culture, it always, I'm like
Mhm.
clutching my pearls for a second. But yeah, thanks for being open to hearing
Yeah.
like a different perspective on that.
So now, like, switching from, we've been very Josh centered. We'll switch to Allie, who we also just like can't get enough of Allie. She's
Mm-hmm.
great.
Star of the show.
Allie
Mm-hmm.
is also just like right in there with the obsessiveness, the light stalking of Faceless Man, because she doesn't immediately know it's Josh.
I'm gonna say it. Yes, he gets her to ride a knife, but she stabs him with it first.
Yes, yeah. And like I actually love, the moment where she realizes he's been in her house and she just goes like full blown clearing the house with her gun out. Like she picks fight. Like fight, flight, fawn, freeze. She picks fight
Mm-hmm.
just like immediately.
She's
And
from the neighborhood.
yes, she's from the neighborhood, and I love how that you see that at her job, right? Shout out to like nurses, but
Yes.
especially this fictional nurse who's working at an understaffed trauma hospital and is so devoted. And it's like that's how her trauma shows up in her character is like
Mm-hmm.
she couldn't save her mom, and so she is like confronting herself every day with these same kind of stressful situations where she can that person
Rewrite the
came in
narrative.
wounded. Yeah, that person came in wounded and I can save them. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that the connection to like her, you know, kink and what she's into sexually was less clear for me, and that was a fun talk that we had in book club where we like kind of like teased it out together. There is the very easy take of she is very capable. She's got a lot on her plate. She has to take care of
Mm-hmm.
herself all the time. She takes care of other people all the time, so she likes to be taken care of.
Yeah. She wants to be in control of the situation, but she likes to play around a little bit.
She can just like take things how they come at her. Like she's very resourceful and she is so tough and she wants to be taken care of. And like, Josh really takes the lead a lot with them, their like sexual relationship. But like she wants him to like throw everything he has at her.
And then you get to primal play at the end of the book, which I think is
Yeah.
a culmination of both of their kinks.
One of the things I'm really excited for in the upcoming audiobook of Game On is this random Fred the Cat perspective bonus chapter, which
Yeah.
just hilarious. Like 1000 out of 10 idea from Queen Navessa Allen. I'm so excited about it, but it gets to a micro trope that I really like in a romance novel, which is when the cat, or in this case it's the cat, but like when the pet doesn't like anybody, but likes the boyfriend or girlfriend, and it's like that's how you know they're safe. And that actually gets back to the whole idea of like Josh is doing scary things, but we're privy to his like internal monologue and motivations, and so we know that he is in fact not an unsafe person, but like we double know because Fred knows. And then
Yeah.
you get the whole switcheroo because we realize that Allie's actually psycho, and so we know he's safe because the cat likes him, but also then we find out the cat only likes people who are psychos. And so that's both of them. I think that's so it comes back around. It's like not just like, oh, the cat likes him, so he's good. The cat likes him, so he's ours. We claim him and we trust him, but he's a psycho, and so is Allie, and that's who the cat likes.
Literally. And the final and the epilogue too, the way she creates that suspense and you're like, oh God, what happened? The apartment's ruined. Who's there? I think no, it was Fred. It was Fred.
Yeah,
Maud.
Maud the second cat. Yeah,
Maud. Yeah.
it's like such good contrast in the story, right? Is like the violent stalker masked man persona, like the fake blood and the intimidation and the tattoos and the like mommy daddy time kind of like talk that he does with
Yeah.
the cat. Such a good contrast, and it does crack me up. I've listened to this book a couple times. It's one of my books and I'm just like, I'm in the mood, and I will just like listen to it in the background.
Same.
I was listening to it in the background, giggling, and pausing it to then like recap why I'm laughing out loud to my husband, who's like, in this moment, I think he's like brushing his teeth or something. And I'm telling him, and he's like, "You've told me this before. You've told me this exact thing about this book before. I wish I knew what part it was." But it was like something that I think is hilarious enough that I need to pause my audiobook and say out loud to my good sport of a husband. And he's just like, "Yeah, I know, because we've lived this already, because you're obsessed and you need to yap about books 24/7."
But also same, poor Ethan is the receiver of all of the information about all of the books that he will probably never read.
Yes.
So that's why I'm glad I have you. We enter the scene in a hospital. We're, very contemporary. We're in a city, unknown. It's nitty gritty right from the get go.
And I think that like the setting of the series is really cool because it kind of sets the stage. It is the stage for everything to play out, right? And it's like the city itself. It's almost like the Hey Arnold-fication of a city with cartoon Hey Arnold from when we were kids. I guess, what is that? The late 90s, early 2000s. That city in Hey Arnold isn't an actual city that exists. It has elements of all these different cities. And the idea is that like children watching it would like read onto it, like whatever city they know. And I feel like that is very much this, whatever city this is, because I don't think it ever gets named. Like I feel like I can really picture this city. Makes the story like that much more effective.
So what city immediately comes to mind for you when you think Lights Out?
Because of like the suburban element of her like neighborhood, my mind went to like a Midwesty kind of city, like maybe not like a Chicago, because that's like
that's
big,
where my
big
mind
city.
went.
Yeah, like but like Chicago-esque. I called it Hey Arnold, but like it's also kind of Gotham City, right? Like like Gotham City and Batman like is New York, but isn't New York. There are all these players there, and it's very fleshed out, and I love that about this book.
There's a lot of world building for a contemporary romance.
Yes, exactly. It makes everything feel that more like grounded and real. I love it.
I know that you were able to listen to both Lights Out and Caught Up, but I only had time to do Caught Up, so it's real fresh on the brain, and we have to talk about Nico. And just the book in general, such a different flavor. It's a different font of a Navessa Allen book. You still have everything, all of our favorite elements, but because the humor is situated in a different area, it feels a little more serious. Josh is such a funny character. He's a goofy goober. He's kind of a golden retriever. And Nico is not.
Yeah, like Nico's the black cat.
He
like
is.
the black cat male main
He
character.
literally is.
One of the most fun things about Lights Out, it goes sideways in the end. They accidentally kill a guy. They've, Josh is like panic mode, like what the hell are we gonna do? And Allie's like, I've actually got this. My family is the mob in this city, and like I've got the connections, and also she isn't afraid of them. Like she's very brave and very tough, and cannot stress enough how brave and tough and cool Allie is. I really love the pacing of this book too. That's another thing that it makes it stand out for me from other books that I've read, right? Is the adventure portion at the end where we are like in a situation and trying to solve it. It isn't just the relationship is pretty settled. They are super into each other. And then they get thrust into the situation where they have to work together, and it just like strengthens that, like that bond was already there, but it really gets very strong. And we get this switcheroo from like them playing a game with each other to them just having to be together in this really intense situation. And it really does open up really to the idea of like her family, and she had the secret the whole time, and like it informs why she is so tough, why she is so independent, like because she is kind of existing out on her own in like opposition to the rest of her family. And I love that moment where like Josh is in full-blown panic mode. We killed a guy, what are we gonna do? He like throws up. And she's just like, do you want my help? I can handle it, and she just goes right into problem solving mode, and they go on their adventure. And
yeah, she goes, you need a guy? I got a guy.
And like that's how we get into the world of Caught Up. We meet the mob family and get into the mafia romance that is Caught Up.
And we should definitely go ahead and chat about Caught Up in just a little bit, but It's been really fun chatting about Lights Out with you.
Yeah, we had a lot to say, so we're going to do 2 episodes.
Little intermission.
Join us again next time, where we're going to talk about Caught Up.
Bye!
Thanks for listening. We will continue our discussion of the Into Darkness series in our next episode, where we will do a deep dive on Book 2, Caught Up by Navessa Allen. We also had the chance to chat with Tara Langella and James Cassidy, the voices of Stella and Tyler in the upcoming book Game On, which is released on March 31st. We can't wait.